Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wired for Wonder. My name is Lori Kirkland, and I am pleased to be joined today with Maura Rivera, who's the CMO of Qualified. Maura, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Lori. I'm excited to chat today.
Wired for Wonder, right? We're here just to talk with other leaders about what the future of work could look like and how using our human skills and becoming more human centric is actually going to be an advantage as we go through all the changes that AI is bringing. So, Maura, just to give our listeners some background, you want to give us a little bit of history on who you are and kind of where you've gotten to this position, how you've gotten to this
Yeah,
position?
yeah, of course. So my name's Maura Rivera. I'm the CMO of Qualified. We're an agentic marketing platform. What does that mean is the big question. We have an agent, an AI SDR agent, who helps marketers generate more pipeline more efficiently. I've been at Qualified for about 6 years, so since the beginning. So I've been part of this journey of seeing the company really explode and grow and also shift our trajectory with the introduction of AI, which has been really, really exciting. So I'm excited to dive into that today. Before that, I've been at some other companies like Get Feedback, Campaign Monitor, and I started my career at Salesforce, which is, the giant in this space. And I learned a ton from there just about how to lead and how to be a great marketer. So I'm excited to chat today.
Well, good. Well, listening to your background, one of the things I think that immediately comes up, right, knowing you're in marketing, is that people are afraid that, hey, the agents and the bots are going to take over my human jobs, and I'm going to have to just get rid of all my people. As someone who uses AI and is deep in the marketing and in sales revenue marketplace, what would you tell people when they feel the fear coming up or worry about having to get rid of their team members?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, Lori, because when AI first emerged as marketers, our first question was, is it going to take my job? How are my teams going to transform? I do think there was some nervousness. Fast forward to today, I think the marketers and really just the leaders of businesses who embrace AI, who understand that it's going to make me more efficient, it's going to make my team more efficient, and with that efficiency, open up pockets for us to do other things, be more creative, redeploy funds back into the business. I think those are really the leaders who are going to thrive in 2025. I also think that we cannot kick the can anymore on what our strategies are. Board members are holding leaders accountable for what is your AI strategy? How are you employing AI agents? How are you leveraging AI first tools as a business? And I think if you don't have a good answer to that question, you probably won't stick along for too long. So I think now is the time for folks to realize this is my teammate. This is something that can make me more powerful. This isn't something that I should fight or be afraid of.
Oh, I like that. And I really, DeepHumanX, we fully agree with you on that. The human side is going to actually be more critical as we get more, as we integrate more technology. And as you were talking, it just reminded me of, some of the fear from the marketplace and some from our clients that I hear is that you talked about how people were afraid of it, but in truth, it's almost like you're getting your own research assistant, your own design assistant. You're getting the help of 5 to 10 extra people to get your job done, which is the way that we've all kind of been set up to work. Of like, okay, these are my tasks. What do
Mhm.
you think, as a leader who has a big team of people, what do you think you would give it as advice to other leaders who also have team members who might still feel that fear? But, how would you coach them as far as really being able to help the team themselves and their team see
Mhm.
the opportunity that's in front of them rather than only sticking in to the fear side of things?
Yeah, I mean, especially as marketers, we've all been following the same playbooks for the last 15, 20 years. We've kind of had our same tactics and our same, how we approach campaigns, whatever it may be. I think as a leader, you need to lead from the front. So it's not enough to just tell your team, hey, I expect you guys to all use AI, or ask your team, what AI tools are you using? You need to have a strong point of view on how you're using AI as a leader and have your own set of tools that you're using and your own vision of where it's going. Like, we talk with our team about how 2023 was the year of co-pilots and you're kind of leaning on some technology. 2024 was the year of autopilot, or AI could kind of run on its own. 2025 is the year of agents, where there's like fully capable AI agents who are doing a full job scope of a human. And I think as a leader, you need to be able to paint that vision for your team, get them excited about it, of this is where the world's going, how exciting that we get to be part of this revolution. Like, we haven't had this much disruption in the workspace in a very long time since cloud. And then you also need to encourage, I think, mind share from the team. Like, I ask our team a lot, what tools are you using? And they share with each other. Like, our content writer uses Notebook LM, and then our a guy on my team who he's working on a lot of our outbounding, he's using Superhuman as like an email inbox. And then of course our creatives are all over all of the new tools that are emerging every single day. So I think it's leading from the front, it's painting the vision, getting them excited, encouraging mind share with the team for them to encourage people to check things out. And the way I think about it is, with a lot of these tools that have emerged, it's like you just got a little intern. You just got someone who can help you. So, and it's not something to be ashamed of. If you can use ChatGPT to help, construct an outline for a pricing proposal or construct an outline for a press release, you're not going to ship that press release just from using AI, but it's going to be a jumping off point for you. And then you can add your own creativity and spin to it. And I don't think it's something to be ashamed of. And I think as folks go to interview for new roles, if they have a strong point of view on what technology they're using, how they've been more efficient, they're going to stand out in their careers as like, oh, those are forward thinkers, those are innovators, those aren't folks who are just living in the past. So I think it's a huge asset. And the quicker you can embrace that as an asset, the further you'll go in your career.
I love that thinking. It's all about AI augmentation. It's not about replacement. It's about use it. We all have tasks that, suck the soul out of our work life. We have to get them done. They're a requirement, but they actually do cause us pain and take away from our own happiness. Will you share, what's one point, whether it's in your work life or personal life, where you've seen AI take a task that was once miserable for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention like the product that we're so excited about at Qualified. So we have an AI SDR, and it's built for marketers. So it's built for the role that I do. And oftentimes, human SDRs, it's a very administrative role. They're handling leads as they come inbound. They're working those leads. They're trying to get meetings scheduled. So at Qualified, we now have an AI SDR agent who does all of that work autonomously and at scale. So as a marketer, you're doing all of these things to drive website traffic, to execute on campaigns. Rather than sending those leads to humans for them to have back and forth, you can use an agent to schedule meetings with those folks and get them into your pipeline quickly. ChatGPT and Claude have also just been huge for me as quick and easy ways to do research, quick and easy ways to construct outlines for press releases or for internal communications. Also, if I want to write a quick write-up or summary in Slack to my executive team of what's going on, I'll now lean on those things. But I mean, it's all over the place. It's Photoshop. It's all of Adobe's Photoshop products. It's Asana with their teammate features. It's now everywhere, every tool I touch, and it's exciting.
Oh, that's so great. And it doesn't have to be scary, right? Which is interesting, because even though ChatGPT came out a couple of years ago, right? Industry is meant to move slowly, right? It's meant to not kind of jump over anything, but now we're faced with this challenge of, wait a minute, the LLMs, all so much technology is literally every 3 months doing what used to take companies maybe like you talked about cloud, maybe 18 months, 2 years, 3 years to actually see advances, but now it's happening so fast. What would you recommend to people who are using AI maybe personally, but they haven't really brought it into the workplace yet?
I mean, I think if that's the case, I think you need to create almost a business plan. I was at a CMO gathering this week, and we were talking about the broad spectrum of adoption from different companies. I work at a tech company where it's very AI first. We're very agile. There's a lot of top down, like encouragement to embrace this new technology. But then there are folks who are at much bigger companies, and there are a lot of questions of, can I trust it? How do I have change management? How do I bring these new tools into our organization? So I think if you're at that kind of company, it is a little bit harder to embrace it. I would say come with a business plan of, here's the AI technology that I'm really bullish about and I'm excited about, and tie it back to the business, not just here's how it's going to make me better or save me time as an employee, but here's how I think it's going to make our team more efficient, our company more efficient, and ultimately help our business achieve those goals. There are also so many communities out there right now where folks can talk with their peers and have some mind share about what tools they're excited about. So I think it's like, if your company is not preaching this from the top down, it's on you as an individual contributor to bring that to your manager and to your team and have a strong opinion about which AI technology they think is going to make a difference. And it's just a matter of time until those companies begin to embrace it. So I think there's just always that, we look at that scale and that level of sophistication. You're going to have some companies who are early adopters and some who are more laggards, but eventually everybody catches up. So if
Yeah.
you can be that mover and shaker within an organization to help them move faster, that's going to bode well for you.
Okay, so now for myself and our listeners, we didn't get to sit around at a round table with CMOs. We want to hear, what are some of the top concerns that were there any themes that boiled up when you had that conversation that felt like they were, more universal, that everyone was feeling them?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of interesting topics. I think so much is changing from a marketing playbook perspective. One thing that we were talking about was SEO, which is kind of the tried and true playbook for marketers to get discovered on search. Now there's GEO, which is generative engine optimization. As a company, how do you make sure that you're showing up in those AI search engines when folks are asking ChatGPT or Claude who the best vendor is for something? So there is a lot of mind share about how we can shift our thinking for kind of these more traditional tactics in the world of AI. There was a lot of talk about AI agents and how do you think about implementing them without disrupting your team and turning everything over on a dime? And how do you think about change management with bringing AI agents onto your team? So we were talking about the crawl, walk, run approach. If you're not comfortable turning them on 24/7 to begin with, you can employ them on your team to fill some off hours, to work some front lines for your teams, and then to kind of fly solo. And then some folks from bigger companies were asking the same question you did, which is like, gosh, my company's a little bit more archaic. They're a little bit bigger. I'm excited about AI as an individual contributor or as a leader to my team, but how do I get my company excited about it? So I think that's the big question for everybody right now. And then we did a roundtable at the end, and everybody said their favorite AI tool as a CMO, and every answer was different, which just shows you how much is out there. And new tools, new applications are emerging every single day. It's kind of overwhelming. You're like, how do I make sure that I'm getting my hands on this technology? I feel like from a marketing community perspective, there is a bullishness on all of this new technology, because usually it's a pretty forward-thinking group of folks, where some people who maybe are in other roles might be a little bit more hesitant. But it was a lively conversation, and it wasn't even going to be all about AI, and it was all about AI, because everybody's looking to their peers of, how should I think about this? How can I make my team more efficient? What are the really impactful strategies? And then what are some cool tools that I should tell my team about? And I think that mind share is going to breed faster adoption right now.
I love that. And just to kind of throw out there, like, one of the things that we've seen challenges from clients is that same thing of like, where do I even start? I could do so many things, but where do I even start? And over the last year that DeepHumanX has been in business, one of the things that we really have learned quickly is telling leaders to start with a big problem that their company has, that is costing them money, that is costing them pain, but look at a real problem, right?
Yes.
And then try doing innovation cycles, as you said, right? About like having small little, pieces where individual humans on your team can get the benefits, as well as then all those individual benefits work towards the greater good. That's kind of some of our philosophy on it, because this tech is different, right? This is different than what we've seen in the past. This isn't a business and then there's tech. This is actually now the merging of, we need business thinkers to be figuring out how to use the tech, and we need tech leaders to be right figuring out how to solve business problems.
Yeah, totally. Totally, Lori. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I just was going to say, what do you think when I say that? How does that align with what you guys are seeing in the marketplace?
I'm super aligned, which is why I jumped to my answer. But I think use cases are key. Look at the area of your business that are causing friction, both on the business side and the buyer side. And then ask yourself, does it have to be this hard? Does it need to be this way anymore? So as you evaluate your use cases, like for us as a marketing team, we were struggling with speed to lead. We were struggling with making sure that everybody could get to our inbound leads fast enough. And that's where the AI SDR agent really comes into play to service all those folks quickly. If you look at your support organization and you have this buildup of tickets and you don't have enough people to service them, perhaps a service agent is the right thing. Or if you're just struggling with some tasks of it's getting really hard to get, new advertising campaigns into market, is there a tool that can help you rip through a bunch of different creative faster and more efficiently, and then apply the technology to this to those use cases? I do think there are going to be a lot of folks who went out on like an AI purchasing spree in 2024, and then some of it's going to become shelfware. I think some folks felt a sense of urgency to buy every AI tool under the sun. But you have to evaluate it and constantly check in on it and saying, is this helping me be more efficient? Is this helping my business? Is this helping us grow our results as a business? And if this is just lightweight shelfware that we're not using, we should scrap it and start anew. So I think you need to pressure test the technology you're investing in to make sure it's really, really making an impact. So I think it's identifying use cases, and it's making sure that you are really managing the different AI technology that you invest in, because I think we'd all love, Lori, if it were a set it and forget it, like, oh, we just bought this new tool and we set it live at our company and everything's better. It does need human oversight. It does need to make sure that there's some guardrails. You do need to make sure that there are really KPIs and metrics for if you deem something impactful or not. And if not, you should probably get rid of it. So I think 2025 will be a bit of a reckoning where you've adopted a lot of technology, and then there's going to be some things where you're like, okay, that actually isn't worth it. So it'll be interesting to see where we net out.
Well, and that's a mindset shift, right? Because for technology, we have been trained, oh, you have to implement it and then you have to buy it and then go through the implementation process. Well, actually now the shift is that, yeah, you actually need to look at it. You need the human critical thinking to determine what problems are you going to solve and then choose your tech. And the great news is that you're talking way less money than you were even 4 years ago, right? To make massive, big changes within your organization, right? Whether it's just servicing your employees. But I have that, I know that a lot of the people I talk to have that same fear, and they're in one way hoping they can just buy a product and be like, look, I have an AI strategy and it's solved. But that isn't the way business is being done anymore, right? Like it's just moving too fast. Thinking that there's any one answer is, in my opinion, you're setting yourself up for failure, right? Like we all have to be humble to say, hey, we don't know where it's going, but what we are going to be focused on is the waves of change to see where I can best figure out how to, benefit my company the most. So when I bring that up, I immediately go to, we've talked a lot about the machine side, the tools, and at DeepHumanX, we think there's the human and machine equation, right? That's what really is going to make you successful. What do you think are some of the shifts that leaders need to make to really make sure that they're either up leveling their human skills or looking at the human side of the equation as well?
I think that's a great question. I mean, if you zoom out, I think the entire workplace is transforming. So as you look at labor and then digital labor, all of a sudden there are going to be more autonomous workers, AI agents that come onto your team. The way I see it, and I know we've talked about this before, Lori, is like, I think as these new agent roles emerge, they're only going to make humans more successful. And the reason I say that is there are some roles within the workplace that are ripe for automation. There are some roles that humans maybe didn't want to do anyways. Roles
Right.
like, a data entry person, or we talk about the SDR, which is like very administrative and getting meetings scheduled. Those are roles that are ripe for automation, but it's not about like taking those roles all away. It's about redeploying those humans onto higher value things. So an SDR, instead of kind of going into that entry level role, they can then become an account executive, or they can then focus on prospecting. Or you can take the dollars you save as a business and redeploy those into other things like marketing campaigns or whatever it may be. And you don't have to worry as much about some of those administrative tasks. So I think folks who can see workplace transformation happening, when they can spot in where AI agents will kind of come in. And then the exciting thing, as you talked about, kind of monitoring and making sure that everything's successful, I also think all of this AI technology is going to create new roles. So the workplace is going to change in that way too. We have folks at our team who are GTM AI managers. They're overseeing the AI tech, the AI agents, and making sure that they're working as efficiently as possible. So I think the strong leaders are going to look at their org chart. They're going to look at the workplace over the next 18 months. They're going to have a perspective on where agents can work autonomously, where new roles will emerge to manage those agents, how they'll redeploy some human calories into other more impactful areas of the business, how they'll redeploy funds back into the business that they're perhaps saving on headcount. And the leaders who can see that vision and embrace it and adopt it are the ones who are going to emerge as successful. And so I think you just have to be excited and enthusiastic about that and be bullish on kind of taking your team there and not kind of being stuck in the past.
All right. So on that note, then I go to kind of your human centricity. What is a
Uh-huh.
big problem that you guys have that you'd love to see solved in 5 years? That you're like, we don't, it's a real problem that we're coming up
Yeah.
with.
I mean, something I always struggle with, which my dream is that there's going to be a great AI powered solution for, is really having a single source of truth for all of your business dashboards, KPIs, and an AI that you can ask questions to. I almost think
Mm,
about it like an AI RevOps professional. We have so much great data at our own company, but I think every business struggles with disparate systems, and it sits in different areas. And is it in this dashboard or this spreadsheet? And then if I have questions right now, I Slack my VP of growth and I ask him questions about the business. My dream is a single source of truth powered by AI that I can ask questions about our business, spot trends, and uncover problems that maybe I didn't even know about. So, an example of that would be, how is our marketing source pipeline this month? Where were some where did we see things dip? Where did we see things increase? What are some things we should think about like bringing back that have been successful in the past? Almost like a RevOps expert who sits next to me all day, who can help shape our decisions and then service all of the executives at our company. So we're all looking at the same data all of the time. Right now, we have humans who are really smart. Like we have the best RevOps team in the world, but they're expensive and they have a lot of things to do. So that is like my dream of really like AI powered business analytics. And I think we'll get there. So if anybody out there is listening is going to build that, that would be great. Because I think that's still, now there's almost so much data that it can be overwhelming. And you're like, okay, how can I use AI to sift through this more properly and make really informed business decisions? And so I'm excited to see where that's going to go, because I think we'll get there soon enough.
and having a long history in product and tech, I'm with you. It feels like we've spent a lot of time getting the data,
Yes.
but we still rely on very individual groups and people to present that data in a way that's usable. And
Yes.
now I would love to see that as well, right? Like, how do I just look at the data and then be like, okay, help me shape it for this scenario, blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah, blah, blah. Much like I use, ChatGPT, Claude,
Totally.
Perplexity, all of them today. But how do I still have the data stay the same, but be able to apply it? But I heard you say a lot that, asking questions, like that you could play with the data. Tell me what you're thinking if we talk about the future of work
Mhm.
5 years from now. You've got this great revenue RevOps dashboard, right? Tell me what kind of skills you think that you yourself are going to have to up level, or your team's going to have, the executive team are going to have to up level
Mhm.
to be able to use that. Like, what are those human skills where you think that people should bet on?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think as an executive team, we need to just continue to brush up on our comfort with AI technology so we're comfortable and we trust it and leaning on it. But I also think the human voice and touch will never be lost. It's then on us as leaders to bring back those insights to the rest of the company and internally communicate them and get everybody excited and aligned. So I think as leaders, AI is not going to just replace us. It's just going to make us more informed, more powerful, more aligned as an executive team because we're all singing from the same song sheet. And then it's on us to bring everybody along for the journey. So I think that those internal communication skills and kind of parroting back to the rest of the business will still be paramount.
So that's super interesting. And I go to the place, having worked with a lot of large companies, I often feel like when you get to the executive leadership and you get to leadership roles, you're
Mhm.
expected to know a lot of stuff, right? Like, you're
Mhm.
expected to know the answer. And it can be somewhat lonely, right? You know what I mean? It can be like, oh, wait, I'm supposed to have all this. I'm not supposed to have these open discussions.
Mhm.
Um, but at the same time, if you think about the future of like the RevOps dashboard, right? Like, leaders are going to have to start asking different questions of their teams and of themselves,
Mhm.
right? So that leaning just on your expertise is going to be, it's going to be shifting, right? And you're going to be taking probably more of a coaching role, which is more human. Um, when I say that, what comes to mind for you of, you know, of a couple of skill, like two, let's say two skills where you could tell, if you're going to focus on some of your human skills, sharpening up leveling your human skills in the change AI is bringing, what
Mhm.
would two skills be?
Yeah, I think one is forward thinking. You have to see the future, which I think is clear from this conversation. But I also think you need to be a great listener. You need to hear from your team what's working, what's not, where there are areas to improve. I think something that, and we talked about this earlier, but I've been kind of at Qualified for a long time and have seen the company grow. And I think one thing that will remain constant in the pre age of AI and post AI is in order to be a great leader, you really have to have that empathy. You have to listen. And I think
Mm.
those skills and the trust that that breeds with your team will never go away. So those will always stay super important from a leadership perspective.
So you're really kind of honing in on the soft skills, so to speak, that have been taken out of the workplace,
Mhm.
and saying that as we move forward, I'm hearing skills like empathy, listening, connection, really, really being able to see what the problems are can be valuable. One last question for you, Maura. If you were to think about the future of AI, right, and the future of work rather, and the changes that AI are going to be bringing. Many people talk about the fear of what could go wrong, but what are your thoughts on what the future of work could look like in a positive way?
Yeah. I mean, I think it goes back to that workplace discussion, which is AI and specifically agents who are autonomous workers who are going to join your teams are going to completely transform the workplace. As leaders, they're going to give you resources and scale that you've never had access to before. And it's super, super exciting. And I think that, like, what an exciting time for us to be part of this movement. I think we'll all look back on this time in 10, 15 years and say, that was crazy. Everything changed on a dime. But how fun was that? How fun was that?
Yeah.
Like every day to get to discover new technology, to think about new AI agents who are being born and entering the workplace, to have access to this information that we've never had access to have to learn new playbooks again. It's kind of exciting. It's a little uncomfortable. And
Yeah.
I think, like, because we're all like, wait, I'm used to knowing everything. And now I don't know the playbook as well as I used to. It keeps you on your toes. And I think you have to sharpen your skills because you have to have your finger on the pulse every single day of what's being unveiled that day. It's pretty overwhelming and hard to keep up with, but I think it's an incredibly, incredibly exciting time. It's going to make us all a lot more efficient and a lot more impactful as leaders. And the ones who are going to emerge as like really successful are the folks who are embracing it today. So it's an exciting time. There's a lot to learn, and so it can be a little overwhelming. But I also think it's never boring right now, which is fun.
Yeah. I 100% agree with you. And I actually feel the humbleness of the learning every day. It's really exciting. And it actually makes work more purposeful and more joyful, because you're like, whoa, I actually can get stuff done that I wasn't able to before really fast. So now what am I going to work on?
Totally.
Which is exciting. All right. Well, Maura, I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you to our listeners for listening. Maura, thank you for joining us. If anyone wanted to check out what Qualified does, where should we send them?
Yeah, go to qualified.com and you can see our AI SDR agent in action. So go check it out. And thank you, Lori, for having me. This is really, really fun.
Okay, great. Thanks so much.
Talk to you later.